Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tado Jayamudre Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttamasloke Bhaktir Bhavati Haistigi Mukam Karoti Vachalam Angum Langaite Grim Kripatam Vande Shri Guru Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhava Shri Chaitanya Ishwaran Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Kopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Janmadasya Yaton Vayaditaratas Chateshu Abhignat Swarat Tene Brahma Hrudaye Adikavaye Muhyanti Yatsuryaha Tejo Varimrutam Yata Vinimayo Yatra Trisargo Mrusha Damna Svena Sada Nirasta Kuhakam Satyam Param Dhimahi Dharmapurjita Kaitavotra Paramo Nirmatsaranam Satam Vedyam Vatstavam Matra Vastu Shivadam Tapatrayo Nunmiranam Srimad Bhagavate Mahakrute Kimba Parairishwaraham Sadyo Hrudi Avaruddhyatetra Kritibi Sushrubis Takshanat Nigama Kalpataror Palam Galitam Nigama Kalpataror Galitam Palam Sukamukha Dhamrutam Dravam Samyutam Nigam Pibata Bhagavatam Rasamalayam Muhuraho Barasika Bhuvi Bhavukam. So welcome to Srimad Bhagavatam class English session. Reading from Canto 11, Chapter 4, Incarnations of Godhead. Text number, verse number 11. Shutri Tri Kala Guna Maruta Jaihva Shaishnan Asman Apara Jaladin Atitriya Kechit Krodasya Yanti Vipalyasya Vasam Padegor Majanti Duschara Tapascha Vrutos Rajanti. Word by word. Shut and hunger. 3 thirst. Trikala guna, the manifestation of the three phases of time, such as heat, cold, rain, and so on. Maruta, wind. Jaihva, enjoyment of the tongue. Shaishnan, and of the genitals. Asman, ourselves. Apara, limitless. Jaladin, oceans. Atitraya, having crossed over. Kechit, some persons. Krodasya, of anger. Yanti, they came. Vipalasya, which is fruitless. Vasam, under the sway. Pade, in the footprint. Go, of a cow. Majanti, they drown. Tuschara, difficult to execute. Tapaha, there. Austerities. Cha and vrita, without any good purpose. Utsrajanti, they throw away. Translation purport given by disciples of His Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Some men practice severe penances to cross beyond our influence, which is like an immeasurable ocean with endless waves of hunger, thirst, heat, cold, and other conditions brought about by the passing of time, such as sensuous wind and urges of the tongue and sex organs. Nevertheless, although crossing this ocean of sense gratification through severe penance, such persons foolishly drown in a cow's hoof print when conquered by useless anger. Thus, They exhaust the benefit of the difficult austerities in vain. Purport. Those who do not accept the devotional service of the Supreme Lord can be considered in two categories. Those engaged in sense gratification are easily conquered by the demigods through various weapons such as hunger, thirst, and sexual desire, lamentation for the past, and vain hoping for the future. Such materialistic fools infatuated with the material world are easily controlled by the demigods, who are ultimately supplying agents of sense gratification. But according to Sridhar Swami, persons who attempt to subdue the desires of the material senses and thus avoid the control of the demigods without surrendering to the Supreme Lord are even more foolish than the sense gratifiers. Although crossing the ocean of sense gratification, those who are performing severe penances without service of the Lord eventually drown in tiny puddles of anger. So this particular verse deals with the word anger, the concept anger, and also sense gratification. As we already discussed in Bhagavad Gita that Kamayesha, Krodayesha, Rajoguna, Samudbhavaha. So anger comes from Kama because we have lusty desires towards this material world and towards material objects, towards mundane activities. So that's why when our desire for material attainment, or when we develop desire to gain material objects or material concepts or material attachments, then when the situation is such that when we don't attain that, definitely we get the anger, because kama leads to krodha, lust leads to anger. Kama yesha, krodha yesha, rajogana samudbhava. These kama and krodha are the byproducts of rajoguna and tamoguna. So definitely one will get entrapped in this garbage of Maya. It is like Trikala. Like Trikala means cold, hot, and winter. So heat, cold, and rain. All these three. See, this heat, cold, and rain are compared to the anger, thirst. By passing of time, this hunger, thirst, heat, cold, and other conditions brought about the passing of time, such as sensuous wind and urges of the tongue and sex organs. As Srila Rupa Goswami says in his Upadeshamrita, that the urge to speak, urge to control the mind, all these factors, if we read in Upadeshamrita, it will be explained very wonderfully by Srila Rupa Goswami. So one should develop the consciousness how to control the anger and how to control the sense gratification, how to control sense gratification. So one may try to adopt in so many different strategies to control sense gratification, but it will all go in vain unless or otherwise once the sadhaka takes the shelter of the holy names or the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It happens only when you practice devotion service very seriously. Then if you have the constant touch with the Lord in the means, that means akinchana bhakti. You should not have any material desires while doing devotion service to the Lord. Right. So a lot of people they perform devotion service, but it will be mishrama bhakti only. They want to enjoy materially also, but they want to do devotion service, both. So one cannot have one leg on the boat and one leg on the ocean. So it's like dire straits. It will be in a dilemma. So either we can dive in the ocean or we can sail in the boat. So that should be the scenario. So if you want to control, the anger, because anger is one letter short of danger. In anger, we doesn't know what we'll do, what is our result, what will be the result. Because so many people, they lose their tempers. For very small issues and all, no, they lose their tempers. That is because they doesn't have control over the mind. Whatever the mind says, they just nod the head and they just sail on that particular path how the mind dictates or instructs them. That's why one should control the urge of the mind. One should control the mind's because mind is obstinate, it's wavering. Bhagavatam also says that in one section that mind is compared to monkey. You can see the nature of the monkey. It will not stay in one place. It will keep on jumping from one tree to another tree, and one building to another building. It keeps on jumping. And if we provide some liquor or some intoxication to monkey, what will be the plight of the monkey? Just imagine. So that is our mind's nature. So mind will always accept and reject. That's the nature of the mind. It accepts things and it also rejects something. Whatever we want, whatever we like, whatever we have desires, it accepts. Whatever we doesn't, whatever we don't, whatever the things we hate, it just rejects all those things. So it's very difficult to control the mind unless or otherwise. As Arjuna says to Krishna, my dear Lord, I can control the wind if you want, but I cannot control my mind. In 6th chapter, he says that, Krishna also says, if you want to control the mind, you have to make your mind a friend, not an enemy. Bandhur Atmanam Tasya. So it says that if you make a mind your friend, then definitely it will dance to your tune. If you make your mind enemy, then it will throw away to different dimensions. It will throw us away to different dimensions where we cannot survive at all. So that's why devotional service of the Supreme God, those who accept the devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because most, even the great saints, like great saintly persons, great rishis and sages also, they do lot of tapasya and austerities. But still, when they curse some particular sinful person or a materialistic person or some XYZ, then they lose their purity. They lose their power of meditation. So anger is such a very cruel thing that it may diverse our devotion service, whatever we gained, whatever we attained so far. Irrespective of any number of births we have, irrespective of any number of years what we have attained in devotion service, it diverse when we get anger. So that's why to control the anger, one must take up the devotion service to the Supreme Lord and take the association of devotees. You can see in the story of Vishwamitra also, when Vishwamitra got angry, so he waged war against Gautama Muni, and against another sage who had a Kamadhenu with him. I forgot his name, I'm not able to recollect. Vasishtha Muni. So ultimately what happened, so he also wanted to become a Brahmarshi. So he started doing tapasya. First time when he was doing tapasya, when he was observing the fast austerities, then Indra sent one beautiful damsels, Ramba, and with Ramba's anklets, Urasi or Ramba, someone with the sound of the anklets, he got disturbed, and his tapasya got it doomed this tapasya. He was not able to do tapasya. Second time, he was very serious. He doesn't want to lose at all. He doesn't want to get disturbed by any other material forces. But second time, because of the anger towards Menaka, his tapasya got disturbed. So like this we can see so many. Saubari Muni we can see, a very austere sage. If he thoughts, his thought process was like this: if we observe tapasya, perform tapasya on the earth, so many forces will disturb him. That is why he went inside the water and did tapasya. But unfortunately, after seeing the union of both male and female fishes, he got attracted, and his tapasya got vanished. It was doomed. So, because of the anger and because of the kama, we lose everything. All our austerities, all our devotion service, whatever we had done. See, just imagine if a devotee is practicing, sadhaka is practicing devotion service 25 years very in a steadfast manner, or very consistently maintaining his standards, always engaging his time for serving Vaishnavas and devotees. Suddenly, if any reversals come to his on his way, like if a devotee comes and just scolds him or blasphemes him, saying that you have done so many. You are doing devotion service from past so many years, 25 years or 30 years, but no results only from you. Just you are doing the devotion service, that's all. If someone says or criticizes you like that, then immediately you will get an anger. But if a pure devotee, whatever he says, he controls it, and he will not respond for that. Instead, he continues his devotion service. Like Satatam Kirtayanto Mam. He continues. He takes the bead bag and he starts chanting. He takes book distribution bag and goes for distribution. Like that, he engages his mind in devotion service. So that is the only parameter to resolve our or control our sense gratification, because senses cannot be controlled by anyone. It can be dovetailed or it can be diverted to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead, like Amrish Maharaj, how he served in different aspects. With his different parts of the body, he was serving the Lord in a different manners by engaging his limbs of the body, like ears to do Shravanam, and tongue to glorify Lord and to honor Prasadam, and consciousness, he was centered in Krishna's lotus feet. Like that, Amrish Maharaj was able to do all sorts of devotional services, engaging his entire parts with his entire parts of the body. Text 12 says, Iti pragnartam tesham striyoti adbhuta darshanaha darshayam asa susrusam swa-archita kurvatir vibhu. So when demigods were praising the Lord with gorgeous garments, with their beautiful, adorable wives, decorated with opulent jewels, and with a great royal look, demigods thought that our wives are very beautiful and they are very decorative, and they look very gorgeous, they look very grand, they look very wonderful. That was their thought process of Devatas. But when they saw the Lord was himself by his mystic power created so many beautiful women, so many wonderful and astonishing women before them, and they were nothing before Lord's women. Nothing before the women's created by Lord's by with his mystic powers. So there was Lord Naranarayana showed his causeless mercy towards the demigods by relieving them of their false prestige. By this way, Lord Naranarayana relieves the demigods from their false prestige. Because demigods thought, as we know, as we have discussed it so many times, and in the Bhagavatam itself, by Brahma got false ego by stealing the cowherd voice of Krishna and calls of Krishna. And also we can see Indra by his false pride. He thought he was the Brahma also thought he was the only Brahma, but Lord has showed him thousands and thousands of Brahma when he came to Dwaraka. And also similarly Indra thought he was the only person who can control rains, and he can only be worshipable and adorable. But Krishna taught him a lesson, saying that Govardhanagiri is the ultimate and the highest of all demigods. So like this, Naranarayana taught a lesson to demigods, saying that to relieve them from the false pride. That is the concept of the 12th verse. And the 13th verse, Te devanuchara drustva striya srir iva rupini gandena mumuhustasam tasam rupa rupadarya hatashriyaha. When the followers of the demigods gazed upon fascinating the mystic beauty of women created by Narayana Rishi and smelled the fragrance of their bodies, the minds of these followers became bewildered. Indeed, upon seeing the beauty and magnificence of such women, the representatives of demigods were completely diminished in their own opulence. So when Narayana Rishi showed their mystic beauty of the women created by him, these demigods got bewildered upon seeing these beautiful women, beautiful and magnificent women. The representatives of demigods were completely diminished in their own opulences. So how one can expect, even though he is a demigod, they cannot imagine or they cannot come to the consideration that our wives are very magnificent and beauty, because the Lord, when he came as a Mohini avatar, the great Vaishnava, Shiva, Lord Shiva himself got bewildered and he ran at the back of Mohini Murti. And he told Mohini, and he told the Lord that I want to have darshan of Mohini Murti again. So that is the plight of Lord Shiva. Just imagine the plight of other demigods, because Lord Shiva is Vaishnavanam Yata Sambhu. Even now we have that temple in temple near Madurai, the Mohini Murti avatar. That the Mohini Murti is nothing but Vishnu himself, just to help the demigods, to provide them nectar, and want to cheat demons. He took that avatar in Samudra Mantana Leela. So nobody can be matched to the beauty of the Lord or Lord's magnificent wife created by Lord himself with his mystic yoga. 14th. Tanaha deva devasaha pranatan prahasana iva asam ekatmam rundvam sa varnam swarga bhushanam. The Supreme Lord of Lords then smiled slightly and told the representatives of heaven who were bowing down before him, please choose one of these women, whomever you find suitable for you, she will become an ornament of the heavenly planets. Narayana Rishi was almost laughing upon seeing the defeat of the demigods. However, being extremely grave, he did not actually laugh, although the demigods might have thought, we are simply low-class fools in comparison to these women. So the Lord encouraged them to choose one of the women, whomever they considered equal in character to themselves. The beauty thus selected would become the ornament of heaven. So after seeing the um, position of demigods, because they got bewildered after seeing the women from Lord's side, then Narayana Rishi himself said, you can choose one of the women and take them to the and consider that she is an ornament of the whole heavenly planet. That was the explanation of 14th sloka. Then 15th sloka says, vibrating the sacred syllable Om, the servants of the demigods selected Urvasi. They selected Urvasi by vibrating the sacred syllable Om. The servants of the demigods selected Urvasi, the best of the Apsaras. Placing her in front of them out of respect, they returned to the heavenly planets. So they selected Urvasi by vibrating the word Om, and the servants of the demigods selected Urvasi and the best of the Apsaras, who is best of Apsaras. Placing her in front of them out of respect, they returned to the heavenly planets. Hare Krishna.